Hey everybody, it's ScomletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we'll be playing the Festival Historic Artisan Event. For those who don't know, Historic Artisan is the format where you can play cards from any set on Arena. However, you can only play commons and uncommons. In this festival event, we'll be paying 2,500 gold or 500 gems, essentially just to collect these art styles. As this is an endless event, you get to keep playing until it ends, no matter how many times you lose. So nothing really on the line. As long as you sign up, get your 5 wins, no matter how many times you lose, you will be getting all 5 of the Team Up Legend card styles, which are pretty cool card styles. But without further ado, let's show off the deck we'll be playing today. Alright, so here's a look at today's deck list. This is going to be a Rakdos or Madness burn deck. It is loosely based off of my favorite Pauper archetype, which is that same archetype, Madness Burn. However, in Pauper, we have access to some cards that we don't have in Historic Artisan, and vice versa. So the Pauper version of this deck gets to run more burn spells like Lightning Bolts and Galvanic Blasts. The Historic Artisan version of this deck gets to run a few more creatures like Blood Tithe Harvesters and Rakdos Headliners, so there's definitely some variance between the two strategies, but I think it'll still be a very fun time. So to show off how the deck list works, we'll go through all of the enablers and then all of the madness cards. Starting off, we're going to play a bunch of aggressive creatures that can produce blood tokens or get us to discard a card. So 4 Voldaren Epicures hitting the board, burning our opponent a little bit and giving us a blood token. Blood Tithe Harvesters being high power for the cheap mana cost while also giving us blood tokens, and some cheap removal if we need to clear the path. And then Rakdos Headliners just being really aggressive creatures that can also let us discard a card later. We've also got 4 Faithless Looting for more discard outlets, 2 Blood Fountain for some more blood tokens, and 4 Vampire's Kiss for both a burn spell and a blood token producer. So what's really sweet about using blood tokens to trigger your madness cards is you're turning those blood tokens into straight up card advantage, because not only are you getting to cast your madness spells for cheap now, you're also able to cast them instead of discarding them, meaning that instead of discard a card, draw a card, you're getting to play a card and draw a card, which is a wide difference, and it can make sure that you keep fueled, drawing more burn spells or more creatures throughout the game with the large amount of blood tokens that this deck can produce. So it's a much more resilient, more long game version of a burn deck, just because it has a lot of built-in card advantage, constantly just straight up drawing cards off these blood tokens as long as the cards you're discarding are madness cards. So pretty sweet, pretty late game kind of burn deck that has a lot of longevity and never really runs out of stuff to do. So for the madness cards that we can be dumping out with all of our blood tokens, we have 4 Blazing Root Walla. These are uncommon, so you don't get them in regular Pauper, but they're pretty sweet. They're a 0 mana 1/1 with a little fire breathing ability. They can only use that once per turn, but still pretty nice for 0 mana if you can get that madness trigger. Kitchen Imps are a classic to the archetype. 4 mana for a 2/2 Flying Haste, not a great deal, but 1 mana for a 2/2 Flying Haste and turn your blood token into straight up draw a card is an excellent deal. Kitchen Imps are really nice for the archetype. And then the 4 Alms of the Vein and 4 Fiery Tempers that basically turn into better lightning bolts if you can madness them out. So that's a look at all of our madness enablers and all of our madness cards. For the last couple editions, we have a couple deadly disputes because we're going to be leaving behind a ton of blood tokens, as well as some expendable creatures potentially with 1/1s with no abilities like Voldaren Epicure. So being able to sack one of those to draw multiple cards and get a treasure can be pretty sweet. And then we also have a couple Voltage Surge because this version of the deck is running less interaction because we don't have straight up Lightning Bolt, we don't have Galvanic Bombardment, so I wanted to put in some other kind of 1 mana burn spell to help clear a path, so I just put a couple Voltage Surges in here because again, theoretically, we have some blood tokens lying around to potentially sack, do this for 4 damage for 1 mana to clear a path for us, but this is definitely a flex spot. I could see that changing around quite a bit. Everything else in the deck I'm pretty confident in. Maybe Blood Fountain's a little redundant. Maybe we already have enough blood tokens without them, but I could see these 4 being flex spots. But everything else in the deck I think is pretty core to the archetype and going to be super powerful. So that is the full deck list for today. Without further ado, let's head into the gameplay and see how it does. All right, here we are on the play. No creatures in hand is definitely awkward, but we can Faithless Looting into some plays. I think I'll keep this here. First mulligan is free though, which is nice. Maybe we take a free mulligan. I don't think I would mulligan this in paper though. Down to a 6-card hand. Another Voltage Surge for us. I guess we could shoot an Elvish Mystic to slow them down. I'm gonna play the Mountain. Faithless Looting, I can discard an Alms of the Vein. Yeah, I think I'd rather discard an Alms of the Vein, so I basically only discard 1 card this turn than play anything else right now. So discard a Surge and an Alms of the Vein. I'll still have 1. Alright, so some green-red ramp deck here with a Game Trail and an Elvish Mystic. There's a Goblin, a Narcomancer. Oh, it could be a Storm deck. There are 1 or 2 Storm cards on Arena that are legal in this format for some reason. I don't know if Grape Shot's legal, but I know that the one that makes 1/1 squirrels is legal. Let's kill the Anarchomancer. Drop the Epic here to have a blood token on board for this Kitchen Imp next turn and go from there. Alright, pass the turn. Let's go for a Kitchen Imp. Must have been relying on the Goblin and Narcomancer at least a little bit there. They might have some burn spells up to blow up one of our creatures in response to something, but looks like they don't have any proactive plays to do during their turn at least. Alright, no more Madness cards. Let's just send in the squad and then drop an Epic here, Blood Fountain here. Ready to Deadly Dispute next turn to have plenty of stuff to do. Alright, they're down to 12. Pass turn. Tons of artifacts to sacrifice to Deadly Dispute. I'll just be cracking a blood token, I think. Another Elvish Mystic for our opponent. And they pass the turn. Kitchen Imp is the draw. That's pretty beautiful. Let's go ahead and just drop that out then and draw a card. Drawn to another Faithless Looting. I think I'd rather Deadly Dispute here. Cast any 1-mana cards off the treasure token. And if I Looting Blind, I might just not even hit Madness. Okay, there's a Fiery Temper and a Looting. I think we pass from there. We just have all this stuff to do next turn now. Send in the whole squad, because trading a 1/1 into a 1/1 that can tap for green is a pretty good deal. And we're going to hit them with everybody. They're down to 6 now, past the turn. I'm not sure if Weather the Storm is legal. If it is, I don't think it's really main deck material. But if they're a dedicated Storm deck, they might have that. That would be an issue. Uh-oh, Stormkiln Artist. They might be storming out on us, depending what they have. Yeah? Rosethorn Acolyte. 1 mana, get 2 mana thanks to Stormkiln Artist. So they are going to try to storm out. Another Rosethorn Acolyte. If all they can do is Chatterstorm here, make a 1/1 squirrel for each spell that they cast this turn, we'll be fine. But if they have Weather the Storm to gain 3 life for every spell that they've cast this turn, we could have a pretty big issue. Not a lot of burn decks are going to be happy to see a gain 9, gain 12, gain 15, however much they could get to here. So we'll see what they're storming into. Hopefully it's the Chatterstorm and they're just going to make a bunch of 1/1s. That would be fine. First day of class, which means they're all going to come out as 2/2s with haste. Does that mean we're dead? Potentially, if they can get 11 of them, that would be impressive. They do get to learn a lesson off of this, which means another instant or sorcery. Containment Breach is the choice. They have the mana to Containment Breach? No. They can't Containment Breach and cast Chatterstorm, because they only have 2 mana left, just 2 treasures. Yeah, if they don't end up gaining any life here, we can probably just kill them next turn, because we can hit them for 4, and then... Well, please tell me the artist doesn't give them treasure when they copy. Oh, it does. Oh my god. Does Containment Breach gain life? No, but it can give them a pest token. That's still okay as long as I don't die. Can still Fiery Temper them for 3, so if my imps are still on board, we have 7 damage on the crackback. Another first day of class? They don't have another Chatterstorm in the hand though, so they can just play whatever they search for here. They're currently hitting me for 10. They have to get 12 more power on board. They can get 4 more power on board by playing an Acolyte. They're going to play Environmental Sciences first and then play an Acolyte. So they're going to go to 8. I can hit them for 7 between the Kitchen Imps and the Fiery Temper, so now I have to draw into something. Containment Breach the Blood Fountain, sure. Alright, and that's going to be the turn. We'll see if we hit any kind of burn. If we do, they are dead. That is not any kind of burn, but Faithless Looting can help get there while letting us cast this Fiery Temper. That is not any kind of burn either. Discard. Oh, I can get past the Stormkiln Artist with 1 epic here, which is enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 3 for Fiery Temper. One of these Epicures hits. Yeah, we're good. One of these Epicures is going to hit them, which means they are going to die. Five life, and there you go. That's an attack for 5. All right, that was a very scary one. They definitely comboed off on their last turn there. Just not enough to kill us in 1 hit, and not enough life gain to survive the crackback. So we are going to find a victory there. Get our first cosmetic prize, which is Baral and Karizev's Showcase card style. Here we are on the play for game 2. Definite keeper here. Just Faithless Looting, double temper them and draw 2. To be honest though, I'll probably Epic here and Fiery Temper next turn, if I don't draw into something else to do with my mana. Better to keep doing stuff with your mana, especially in this kind of deck that's going to keep drawing cards every single turn off these blood tokens. We're always going to have stuff to do with our mana, so got to make sure to spend it whenever we can. Much more likely to run out of mana than we are run out of cards in general. Alright, opponent goes for a forest and we get an excellent draw. Now we get to play a Blood Tithe Harvester turn 2, so we can curve out with that and still have the Faithless Looting Fiery Temper plays in the future. In order to cast both the Tempers off of 1 Faithless Looting though, I'd need to have triple red up, which obviously I couldn't do while still playing Blood Tithe Harvester, so the mana's a bit awkward for the double Fiery Temper, but we might draw into one of our Black Madness cards off this Faithless Looting. Discard 1 Temper, 1 Black Madness card. Beautiful. Now we know it's going to pan out. We go Faithless Looting, Fiery Temper, Kitchen Imp. Cast both of them, and we've just straight up drawn 2 for 1 mana. And cast these spells for cheap. Attack them all the way down to 9 and pass the turn. And And there's the concession from our opponent. They got to play one spell all game because we were just a really aggressive burn deck on the play, and they were some kind of slower stompy deck. The only card they played all game was just an equipment without any creatures on the board yet, so that'll be our second win, and now we will get the card style for Hidetsugu and Kairi. Here we are for game 3, and I'm tempted to keep this hand on the draw. I have 2 draw steps to hit a land, because I'll draw on my first turn and my second turn, and even if I don't hit one, I can use a blood token in the future. And we do hit a land. It is another tap land, though, which could be awkward for us. Playing against blue-red with Dragon's Rage Channeler being the first play from our opponents, so quite likely they are on blue-red Delver, which is just a bunch of cheap Dragon's Rage Channeler and Delver of Secrets style creatures, and a ton of cheap instants and sorceries. Lots of cheap burn spells and counter spells, draw spells, all that kind of stuff to be annoying and keep the path clear. So let's try to cast a Faithless Looting here. If our opponent allows it, we're going to cast 3 spells this turn, which is pretty sweet. And they're just going to scoop it up. This is, again, a festival event, which means that you get to play as much as you want and the losses don't matter, so you're probably going to run into some players who are just going to scoop it up, which is nice when you are just trying to get your 5 wins. But when you're trying to make a video of the format showing off as many games as possible, can lead to some non-games for sure, some early concessions. But I guess that's going to be our 3rd victory now, and that is going to be the Yargle and Multani Showcase card style. Here we are for game 4 with a very nice keep. We get to play a turn 1 Epicure and then a turn 2 Kitchen Imp. Tons of removal to keep the path clear. Our opponent's going to start with a mountain and just pass the turn. So here's our turn 1 Voldaren Epicure. And we'll pass the turn from there. Alright, Windscarred Crag from our opponent. Gives them a white source now, so some kind of red-white deck. I'm going to curve out with Blood Tithe Harvester instead of the Kitchen Imp for now. Get my 3-power Dork on the board, as well as a creature that can sack itself to clear a path if I need to. Hex Gold Slash is going to immediately get rid of that. Alright, pass the turn here. Let's discard a Kitchen Imp to draw a card. I think... I'm not going to play the land yet in case I hit a tap land, because I know I'm spending this black mana to Madness the Imp either way. Alright, play with fire, blow up the Kitchen Imp. So it looks like some kind of Boros burn deck. Red-white burn. Ooh, Blazing Root Walla. Beautiful draw. Now I get to crack this blood token to draw a card and play the Root Walla for free. I guess I can wait and just do that during my opponent's end step, since I'll be tapped out and it's not like the Root Walla has haste. That's a really important thing to note about Madness that I haven't noted until now, that I probably could have been doing earlier with Fiery Tempers and stuff. You can do Madness cards at instant speed, regardless of their casting restrictions. Even if it's like a sorcery speed card like a creature, you can still put it out at instant speed. Alright, Ossification to deal with the Voldaren Epic here. Just the all-removal Boros deck. Let's cast our Blazing Root Walla now and draw a card. Alms of the Vein is the draw. That's a sweet one. Rakdos Headliner for a haste card. I can attack and buff the Root Walla. Next turn I can discard Alms of the Vein to the Headliner and cast it. Could also do Kitchen Imp if I want, or Fiery Temper. Okay, they're going to Lightning Strike the Headliner, so I can't discard a card to that anymore. But this is where that resilience of this deck is coming in really handy, because our opponent's going to keep trading removal spells off 1-for-1 with our cards. The problem with that is a lot of our cards we've gotten to cast while still drawing other cards. Like right here, I'm about to draw 2 cards and cast 2 Madness spells. So we can really go toe-to-toe. With as many 1-for-1 removal spells as they want. I guess I should have Foreboding Ruins. Because the way this works is it can only come to play untapped if you have another land in hand, and obviously I do right now, but if I play the mountain first, then I don't. Definitely some kind of loose lines today, but I'm not super worried about playing the best in a festival event like this. Really nothing much on the line in the festivals. Invasion of Dominaria, they're going to gain some life, draw a card. They're back up to 10, now they're back up to 11 with that Windscarred Crag. Alright, luckily I drew another basic land, never punished. Now we can Faithless Looting and have 2 mana of any color up, which is really good, because then I can just double Alms of the Vein here. Madness both of them. Just Faithless Looting for another straight up draw 2. And put them down to 4. I think I'm going to hold this Swamp to discard the Headliner if I don't draw another Madness card. Okay, there's a Planar Disruption on my Blazing Root Walla. I wonder what their win con is. Are they just flipping Invasion of Dominaria with some burn spells? Getting a 4/4 Flying Vigilance card? Or do they have other creatures of some kind? Alright, well, Vampire's Kiss into Headliner is lethal. I think I'm going to go for that. Now I'm not even going to hold the land because they have to removal spell Headliner anyway. And this way I could maybe crack a blood token for a 1-mana burn spell if we're lucky. Okay, can't save Headliner in any way. I don't remember, are there any 1-mana burn spells in this deck? I think actually not without discarding, there aren't. I think we actually just pass, but I might crack these blood tokens for these Vulture Surges to get out of here, because it seems like they're not playing any creatures, so having our removal spell for their creatures is a bit awkward. There's a Blood Tithe Harvester, not bad. And what is next? Another Dross Forge Bridge. Ooh, Voldaren Epicure. Gonna shoot them down to 1 life now. Give me another blood token to discard this bridge. Looking for a burn spell. Any of our burn spells or our epicures will do it now. Any of our haste creatures. We've got 4 mana up, so we don't need to madness anything. We draw into it, we can hard cast it. Alright, mountain. Not where it's at. We'll play the Blood Tithe Harvester, crack the blood on the mountain to draw a card. Because Epicure can still kill them if I draw into another one. That is 1 mana. Alright, another Blood Tithe Harvester. Not bad at all. Yeah, this game really just shows you how far this deck can dig. We have 35 cards in our library, and they have 44. We have seen 9 more cards than them this game, just off all these blood tokens and faithless lootings. So there's the pacifism on the Epicure. Here's another Blood Tithe Harvester to discard this swamp and see what we get. Yep, there's the Lightning Strike for that, but now they are out of cards in hand. We've still potentially got one off this blood token. And there it is, a Vampire's Kiss for another burn spell. The Kiss of Death to finish them off. We are now 4 wins in. We get our 4th fancy team-up card style. And for the 4th win, you're going to get a Rankle and Torbran card style, which is a really sweet looking one. I love the fairy tale artwork they have. Yeah, this is a crazy artwork. You really got to like look closely to see exactly what's going on. Like just taking a glance at it, it's like, whoa, what is going on? They're fighting some weird, large, I guess that's supposed to be some kind of Phyrexian dinosaur-y creature thing. But there's Torbran in the bottom right and Rankle up at the top in the middle, kind of looking like Cupid a little bit, weirdly enough. A little cherub-looking fairy. Yeah, really cool card styles for sure. That is our 4th. Let's go grab the final card style for Ghalta and Mavrin, shall we? All right. So here we are in what might be the final game. Opponent starts with a turn 1 Evolving Adaptive. They came to fight. They're going to make some big creatures here. Evolving Adaptive into Quirion Dryad. That's another creature that just keeps getting bigger and bigger as the game progresses. For now, it's pretty tiny, which is nice, but this gets bigger when they cast non-green spells, and this gets bigger when they cast any larger creatures. So some kind of evolving deck here, maybe a +1/+1 counter theme, and that does look to be the case with Botanical Brawler here. Definitely +1/+1 counter proliferate kind of theme going on. I think I'd like to just burn the Brawler while I can. Although I'd love to get a Kitchen Imp on board. The cost reduction on that is pretty dramatic. But I need to worry about dying on the Crackback. I need to Fiery Temper here. I think. Kill the Botanical Brawler. They're already at 6 damage on board. 6 power worth of creatures. Okay, 1 mana up, not enough for anything. We'll just hit for 3 and pass. Alms of the Vein and Vampire's Kiss should be great in this matchup. It seems like it's going to be an aggressive mirror match. We're both just trying to beat down in our own ways. So I guess they're not strictly a +1/+1 counter theme because they have the Dryad and the Botanical Brawler to do that, but Adaptive is oil counters. So probably more just counters in general, just proliferate style stuff. Nessian Hornbeetle. Once they have 4 power creatures, that'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. It's Faithless Looting here. We can go Kitchen Imp and Alms of the Vein, because I don't think that the Root Wall is going to be very good on the current board, but Kitchen Imp definitely will. Alright, drain them for 3 life, get an attack in with the Kitchen Imp, and they're going to be down to 9 life now. Here's a Banalish Night Counselor, which is one of the alchemy cards. Can enlist creatures and get extra +1/+1 counters around. Now, yeah, Dryad's a 4/4, which means Hornbeetle's going to keep getting bigger. Spooky. They are at 9 life though, and we're hitting for 2 a turn in the sky. We should be good, especially with another Faithless looting this turn for Alms of the Vein and a free Root Wallet, I guess, since I've got nothing else to madness with anyway. Could even cast a Vampire's Kiss now, putting them to 3. Then next turn, if I hit them with Kitchen Imp, we play the Epicure and finish them off. Alright, yeah, they've got some real beef now, 5/5 and a 4/4. But we can just take it, kill them on the crackback with Kitchen Imp. Alright, that is gonna be game. That will be the 5th victory, and the final card style will be rewarded to us. Took a lot of damage that game, but we had a ton of life gain going on as well with all the life drain burn spells, which is sweet. So we'll claim the final prize here, which is going to be the Galta and Mavrin card style. But that is going to do it for today's event. I do like this Galta and Mavrin card style. I'm a little worried though, because we do have an Ixalan set coming this year. I hope... Usually they have multiple card styles in each set, so that's probably what's going on here. But if this is the only card style in the new Ixalan set, I think my one thing I don't like about it is that all of the cards with this card style do look really, really, really similar in the artwork, because it's just, they're all just like a coin in the middle, kind of. So a little worried about that. If everything in the set has this card style as a nice alternate, that would be maybe a little too samey, but it's probably going to be like most sets where they have, you know, 2 or 3 different card styles, and this is just one of them. But it is pretty nice. It's pretty cool. They're doing a great job with all the showcase card styles. One of the coolest additions to Magic in recent years. Anyways, I'm rambling now. We'll take another look at the deck list if you're interested in that. Not the most competitive gameplay today. We were definitely against a lot of more casual-oriented decks, more homebrews and stuff. So the Rakdos Madness stuff definitely shines, being really, really hyper-aggressive against some slower decks for sure. But I do think it's a really fun, really cool deck. And it'd be nice to be able to play Historic Artisan a little more often. Maybe not like a permanent queue, maybe there's not enough players for that, but being able to have it on midweek Magic more often or something like that could be cool. I don't know. Would be cool to play the format more competitively, maybe in a format with a little bit of gold on the line or something like that, to really try to streamline this kind of strategy and make it as good as possible, because I think it's a pretty fun, pretty powerful strategy, and definitely recommend the Pauper deck. That deck is really sweet. Have enjoyed playing that for a couple years now. So that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons very much for supporting the channel, as well as thanking you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.